Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Sunshine Acres. It is beautiful Sunday morning. It's a little chilly first thing, but it is about 10 o'clock now, mid 40s, and sun's coming out a little bit. Absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to be working alone today on the video. We had the luxury of having Miss Jayla home again. You saw her in a video a couple weeks ago. She's back to visit us the weekend after Thanksgiving, help us put up some Christmas decorations, and just enjoy some time with her. The girls are out getting some fabric. Apparently the skirt that we have on our Christmas tree that we got was entirely too small, and they're going to rectify that situation today. What I'm going to be working on today is firewood. So ultimately I would like to get into selling a fair amount of firewood on the side. I don't need this to be a big second job, but definitely a side hobby to work on. Just kind of want to show you what we've got going on as far as wood storage for ourselves, and where we're probably going to take that. So I do actually have a coworker wanting a load of firewood, so I just want to go over my calculations of what I do to justify that, as especially as far as a volume standpoint. So a full cord of wood is 4 foot wide by 4 feet tall by 8 feet long. So that's a full cord, and basically that is 16-inch pieces of wood stacked 3 deep, 8 feet long, 4 feet tall, 4 feet out here. So I mean, our wood storage, if you watched last Flashback Friday, we built this a couple years ago, and it is designed for us to hold 4 full cords of wood. So you're seeing basically 25% of that now. It's doubled, and then a backside to it as well. I don't know how much we'll burn ourselves a year. My estimation is I think we're going to be just about 2 cords a year, but we do have multiple fire pits outside as well. So I think some of that, the fire pit stuff, we may just kind of stock with trash stuff. As we sell firewood, I'll split it up, keep the good stuff for customers, and we can use some of the dirtier stuff in the fire pits. But I'm thinking 2 cords a year is good for us. So right now I'm stacking for this will be next year's 2022 burn, and so I think once I get that filled up, I'm going to call it good for us. I'll walk you around the back side of this as well. We still have some milled lumber in there, but I want to run some numbers and see how much I think I can generate in a year. That will be kind of the side deal, selling firewood. So like I said, a full cord of wood's a 4 foot wide by 4 foot tall by 8 feet long, which equals 128 cubic feet. So typically what you get when you buy a load of firewood is a truckload is usually a face cord, or a third of a cord of wood. So 128 divided by 3 is 43 cubic feet. So what I want to do, and I've got a picture, I'll snap a picture in right now. I've measured my truck, the 250, to what is a full third of a cord or truckload, and I've stacked it nice and neat in there. But I don't want to have to get in there and stack it neat every time. So I want to be able to load the bucket full on the tractor and then just dump it in the truck. So I want to figure out how many nice bucket loads does it take. I can loosely dump it in the truck and then take it and deliver it. So I've measured this guy here, or a 5 foot bucket, be basically 1.5 foot tall, and I can probably get slightly more than that. And then being a face cord or a third, it's 1.33 feet deep. So that'll be nicely stacked. We do that, and that comes out to just under 10 cubic feet. So if we're trying to give you 43 cubic feet as a face cord, I'm going to say that's 4.5 buckets here, just under. So what I'm going to do is just say, let's call it 5 buckets, and that should put us over the amount. And I'm going to deliver a load tomorrow for a coworker, and I want to, hopefully he's got a spot that we'll be able to stack it up and measure it. I'm curious to see kind of how that comes out. And he is a co-worker, so for some reason I'm short, I'm sure he'll understand. I'll load up some more and bring that to him. So we're gonna do 5 buckets on the tractor, loosely loaded in the truck, and kind of see how that looks like, and take a still shot versus, you know, how it's stacked in tight. And I also probably want to get a toolbox in the back of my truck as well, so that'll kind of change the appearance, you know, of how that amount of wood looks. So I kind of want this video just for reference. If anybody asks, it's like, you know, how do I know how much wood I'm getting? Well, I mean, obviously you can measure it, you know, after you're done and stacked, but I'm hoping this barometer works out pretty well. You know, 5 buckets loose in the back of the truck, and hopefully that'll kind of be the measuring stick going forward. So I'll take you around. I'll show you what we've got now with our current wood storage. I'll show you the measurements on the back of the 250 as far as how I measured that, and then I'll film just us splitting, you know, the 5 buckets and getting that in the truck, and just kind of go from there. So like I've showed you before, here's our wood storage. Like I said, this is designed to hold 4 cords of wood, so we got a decent start for 2022. Probably closing in on 25% of what we need. And currently on the other side, we still have the lumber that we had milled up from our trees in the clearing here. So the bulk of this lumber will get used as we move to the inside of Sunset Cabin. So I'm hoping by late winter, early spring, we've probably got this cleared out, and this can start being storage for firewood that we can sell next fall. So, you know, what we're selling this year is just what we've got left over from when we cleared for the house. And, you know, I've probably got 3-4 cords laying around here. So really just trying to sell off what we've got staged around the property. So here's what we've got the back of the 250. So I measure this out. I mean, it's a 6.5 foot bed long, 4.5 feet wide, and I measured up, you know, 18 inches comes below here. And in the picture, a still shot, I'll show you a load I delivered to somebody else a while back where we actually got in and stacked it neatly. So I mean, it was just nice and level right across here. So I'm curious where the 5 bucket loads, how that's going to look. Is that going to be too much to get in here? Or, I mean, that's kind of the test today to see how that goes, because I really don't want to have to stack neatly in this truck, because ultimately I would have to probably, you know, stack a bunch here on the tailgate, climb up in there every time and handle it, you know, an entire another time to do this. You'll see the operation that I have here. I'm not trying to be super efficient with this. Splitting wood and cutting wood's somewhat some exercise for me, a little therapy as well. So I realize it's probably not the absolute most efficient way to do it, but we're going to keep getting better at it. I'll turn here, I'll set up the camera coming back at us, but you can see the tractor up there. And I'm just working through this old pile here. I mean, this stuff's been here a couple years, so I mean, it's dry, it's ready to burn. So it should be really good for the customer. But what I'd like to do is I'm gonna resplit a lot of this to just really make sure we're getting the good stuff. And like I said, I'll take some of the dirtier stuff and we can stack that by fire pits and use that there. So I'll walk you around our little setup we have here. So we've got a county line 30-ton gas log splitter. Nothing fancy here. You know, bought it from I believe Tractor Supply or something like that. I know there's a lot nicer splitters out there, but for what we do out here, I mean, this is plenty. Gets the job done. So I think ergonomically we should be pretty good working right off the pile here, splitting and load the bucket up, and we're going to do that 5 times. The other thing I'm going to do today is just kind of time how long it takes to load up 1 bucket, and try to get a little average there, just to kind of gauge how much time I'm spending to, you know, put a load together. All right, so before I fire this up, start making some noise. I did bring the gator, one of the gators up here. I told you I'm gonna probably peel off some of the dirtier wood. I'm just gonna throw that in there. We already need some down at Sunset Cabin, so that'll be a nice, easy load. So our customer tomorrow will get all the clean stuff. We'll take the dirty stuff down to the fire pit by Sunset Cabin. And I'm gonna let this thing run from a time standpoint, and I'm just gonna come back and note the time in between each load. Once we get started, I'm gonna let this thing warm up a second and go from there. So we're gonna do five bucket loads, loose stack it in the truck, see how long that takes and how that looks as far as being able to travel with it and you know, volume in that truck bed. So that was probably a horrible example of timing of splitting up firewood. I don't know, you can maybe tell I ended up putting more in the gator than I did in the bucket. Got into a couple bad spots of wood there. So I ended up splitting each piece multiple times. Like I said, putting more of it to the scrap pile. I was expecting to be in the 15-minute range, so at 25-30 minutes, obviously, that's not going to be what we want to do. I'm going to try to hit up. I'm looking at a pile right behind us that looks pretty good. So I think I'm going to relocate things, and I think I can get that timing down a little better and get that sped up a little bit, but we'll see. All right, so we're going to try this again. This will be round two, our second bucket. I got a nice little stretch of old hardwoods here. I got a few of these smaller rounds that are fairly new. I'll probably avoid those, but I've got some really good looking stuff here. So hopefully we'll do a little better on the timing. Much better. I'm gonna keep, I know I've got some here that's good. Anything I'm peeling off is just fine, but the amount of effort that it takes to get it is it becomes futile at some point. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of designate most all this stuff. I mean, I do the same thing what we burn inside our own house, but the amount of time it's taken to do that's just not very efficient. So I'm gonna get, I know I've got one good pile up here. We're gonna pull up next to that guy and see if we can do some damage with that. All right, so even that first part of second bucket is probably about 6 minutes, even though we're taking longer than we like with that one. So we'll see if we can pick up some speed with this guy. so that's at 14 minutes plus the 6 minutes we had before, so we're down to 20. Again, I was still peeling off a bunch what I would call scrap, but and that's fine. I mean, I expected some of that, but I think that'll get better here on the last few. I don't know if any of y'all do this, but I try to save a pair of gloves as long as I can. I'll duct tape the end of those bad boys, but maybe the end of the road for these guys. So that was just over 15 minutes on that one. That's what I would expect. And also I realize, I mean, this whole activity here is just because this wood's been sitting out here for a couple years. The way that we cut and split and stack now is totally different than we did a few years ago. It'll be a lot more efficient moving forward. Yeah, this is kind of a one-time deal to get rid of all the old firewood off the property. And then moving forward should be a lot better. I'm running low on battery, so I'm probably gonna have to charge for the next couple, and then I'll wrap this thing up with some comments. So that's it. That's 5 buckets. Make sure that's on. Looks like a pretty good haul. I'll pull the camera off this stand here and let you see that. That's about what I expected. I'm hoping that's a bit heavy, over 1/3 of a cord. It's kind of nice to deliver a little more than somebody asked for. So we'll take a closer peek at that. That's it, 5 buckets loaded up. Like I said, when I stacked it before, it was nice and level, you know, 4 or 5 inches below the top of this. So this is definitely about what I expected. So I'll be curious to see how this stacks up and measures out, but I expect it to be a little bit heavy. All right, so that wraps it up for this video. I probably will do a little follow-up, just kind of see how that thing stacks up. But hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you'll have Miss Kara along for the next one. I know it's much better when she's around, so hopefully we'll make that happen. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please click the like button, click the subscribe button, leave a comment, tell your friends. See you next week. Bye.